Okay, for what you're doing with the other work, you need to be aware of the difference between discrete and continuous types of data, and discrete and continuous measures. So if you've got here, you've clicked through something to check up on. So this is a very short, hopefully, thing just to help you tell apart when things are discrete and when things are continuous. So we've got two properties here. One is the number of cars in a position or doing a thing under a bridge in this case. Well, we count them, and that's going to be important. And here we've got the length of a car, which is a thing that you can measure about the car. So they're both about cars. They're both properties about the real world, or imaginary, if you're going to do it in your head. The difference is about what possible values these can take. Okay, so if we say, for example, that one day there are 352 cars, and the next day there are 513 cars, we can all imagine there's a day where there are more cars than this and fewer cars than this. And 400 would do. Let's do 401 to keep it interesting. So you can go in between those two values. And in a similar way here, if we imagine there was a car that was 3.52 meters long, or 5.13 meters long, we could imagine a car in between of 4.01 meters. So far, this seems exactly the same. If I give you two bits of data, you can go in between them. However, this will not always be possible for both of these. One of these it will always be possible, and one it won't be, and that's the key distinction here. So let's pick two different days now. On one day, there were 434 cars in the car park. Another day, there were 435, under the bridge. So they counted that many cars one day and that many cars a different day. Can you imagine any day where counting cars, you'd get something in between these two values? And that's just not possible. If you're counting actual whole cars as they come up through the bridge, you're going to get whole numbers. You're going to get this many numbers. Okay, so there's a clear hop. At one point there were 434 cars, and then at some point you declared the next car existed and it was 435. It just immediately hopped up from there to there. Whereas if you were measuring cars, you could have one that was 434 centimetres long, one that was 435 centimetres long, or we could imagine a car that's 434.3 centimetres long in between these two. Okay, so we can use decimals. Why don't we try this? 434.3 and 4.4. Got a bit 4 and 3 heavy here. Well, in between those, there's 434.37. And it doesn't matter how precise you pick or how finely you measure the length of two different cars. It is possible for there to be a car in between those two measurements. Whether or not you can find it or have the tools to measure it is a different question. We're talking about what's possible in the world. So for a real extreme example, we've got a car that is 513.2874 centimetres long. Someone's got a really precise measurement out on this car length. Another car of 513.2875 centimetres long. So even though I've gone to 4 decimal places, I can just go to an extra one, and in between those there are an infinite number of possible lengths, including that. So because with the lengths of car, there is no gap anywhere between any measurement where any data could fall. It is a continuous type of data. There's no gaps in the possible distribution. Whereas with the counting things, there are gaps. In here, because we're counting whole things, there are gaps between every whole number. There are a few weird ones like shoe sizes which go up in halves in the UK and go up by grains in other places and things. So it's not the decimal that's important here, it's the fact that you can pick two values for this, in between which no values exist. Whereas you can't do that for this type of thing. So this type, I'm going to write it, is discrete, because there are discrete hops between close neighbours, and this is continuous, because you can continuously increase the length of something from any precision you care to bother with the skills available. Okay, so that should help with the work you're actually doing this week. You didn't necessarily have to come to this because you may already have known it, but that should fill in some gaps for you. Enjoy.